Welcome to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show, hosted by Mason Kern. He keeps his nose to the ground to report on what's trending in professional and college sports, to inform, enlighten, and entertain. And now it's
the Sports Watchdog.
The Sports Watchdog Mason Kern.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show here on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060 Phoenix. As always, I'm your host Mason Kern, and we've got a jam-packed show for you on this Sunday. As March Madness is circling around us, I'm just going to jump straight into it because I have two full-fledged interviews that you're not going to want to miss coming up later in the show. So like I said, jumping right into it, we're kind of doing, instead of sports hot topics, we are in the thick of March Madness Sweet 16 play. So the front half, as in this portion where sports hot topics would usually be, is going to be centered around our happenings on the Hardwood segment, which is also going to be a brief little thing toward the end of the show. So jumping right into it. I discussed last week Arizona State, the state of the programs. Arizona doesn't make the NCAA Tournament, probably one of the least amount of talent on that roster in Sean Millard's tenure. While Arizona State probably had its best compiled roster since probably 1980, and they win a tournament game. They beat St. John's in the first four, but they failed to defeat Buffalo and get bounced out in the round of 64. Buffalo then goes on and gets destroyed by Texas Tech, who then goes on and creams Michigan by somewhere near 30 points. One of the only remaining Pac-12 teams, or the only remaining Pac-12 team, being the Oregon Ducks, advances to the Sweet 16, the only team from the Pac-12 to make it that far after they defeated Wisconsin in the round of 64 in that upset victory, a 12-5, and then defeating UC Irvine in what was not an upset. It was a 12-13 matchup in the round of 32. Can't overcome Virginia, the number one seed. But more on happenings on the Hardwood and the state of the NCAA Tournament, the state of the Pac-12, in our second segment of happenings on the Hardwood later in the show. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
If you're losing your hair or notice that it's getting thinner, listen closely. You can do something about it without messy lotions or drugs. Now you can get clinically proven hair growth results at home with the Hair Max Laser. Hair Max delivers nourishing laser light energy to stimulate hair growth right at the roots. It's FDA cleared, recommended by doctors, and best of all, it has an amazing 93% success rate in clinical studies in both men and women, so you can be sure it works. Use it just 3 times a week and experience new hair growth, increased density, and healthier, fuller, more attractive hair in just weeks with a 5-month money-back guarantee. Now, for a limited time, save 15% on your HairMax order at hairmax.com. Type in code RADIO at checkout or call 1-800-9REGROW. That's hairmax.com, code RADIO, or 1-800-9REGROW. Experience real hair growth and save 15% with HairMax.
Hey everyone, welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060 Phoenix. I'm your host Mason Kern, and joining us now is Derek Anderson, a former NBA and NCAA champion turned author and life speaker. Derek won the NCAA championship playing for Kentucky in 1996, and he was selected 13th overall in the 1997 NBA draft by the Cleveland Cavaliers. He would then go on to win the coveted Larry O'Brien Trophy with the Miami Heat in 2006. And now Derek's here on the Sports Watchdog Radio Show. Derek, thanks so much for joining us, man. Glad you can make it.
No problem, man.
Really appreciate you taking the time. And first off, I always like to ask athletes just kind of how they got their start in the sport they played. So for you, what's kind of your backstory with basketball?
Well, it was kind of weird. I got my dad had left our house at an apartment when I was 10 years old, and I came home at 11, almost 12 years old, to an empty apartment. And my mom was on drugs, and she just left me in an empty apartment. So I was like, so what do I do? And, you know, at that age, you just kind of walked around the neighborhood, asked people for help, spent the night over other people's house. But then I went to a basketball court, and I just started picking it up. Like, I had never really played it, just picked it up, played it, and then I would stay out there all night. I had, like, flat balls, couldn't dribble or anything, and I would just stay out there just playing around by myself. Fell asleep a couple times in the neighborhood park. Woke up the next day, I was starving, but, you know, I knew I had to figure out something. And I just gravitated to basketball, and it just kind of pulled me that way. And So when I didn't go to school and I wasn't working like Winn-Dixie carrying people's bags for money and whatnot, I just went to the basketball court. So I basically would stay there all day, and it just became a part of who I was, and that was my livelihood. And as I got older and my Uncle George let me stay with him, and I got kind of get my body nourished when I grew to like 6'6", and
Wow.
basically that was my life. It pulled me to it. Life made me go to it, and I embraced it.
Right, yeah, and I mean, definitely, I mean, through that process then, I mean, lots of adversity. So for you, as you kind of, like, reflect on it, how do you think all of these obstacles and all of this adversity kind of shaped you into who you've become kind of today?
Oh, it was a big part of it. Like, I didn't get a technical in 11 years at the NBA, and it was because I learned to control my temper, control my emotions. I just focused solely on just doing the right things, and I had to do that as a kid. So when you're a kid, learn to control your emotions. You get older, it became easier. It became the habits that I've created. So I never was one of those guys that just would blow up just because I wasn't happy. There was plenty of times I wasn't happy. Right. But I knew I had to control my emotions, and it played a huge part of my life.
Right, and for you, I mean, because some people, if they were faced kind of with that situation 10, 11, 12 years old, they might gravitate towards some bad habits, gravitate towards some bad people. I mean, you went toward basketball, and you were able to kind of get on the right track and stay kind of true to yourself. So for you, how are you just able to do that and kind of remain positive just throughout your livelihood?
Well, I think it was also the people who had around me. Like my school teachers, when we were growing up, they were motivating. They weren't the kid. Like if I fell asleep on the table or on my desk, a teacher would come and say, "Hey, son, you're better than this. Stay awake, and I think you're good enough, and I'll help you if you need it." Like that's motivation instead of, "Hey, you're asleep. Go to study. Go to after school suspension." Like they didn't punish you. They talked to you. They worked with you. They tried to help you, and that motivated me. And those are the people I still look up to this day. It's like school teachers. They were there to make me feel better. Because I was with the school system from in the mornings to like 2:30, and then you have basketball for another 2 hours. So I was in the school system like 6 to 8 hours a day.
Right. And
that became the people that I kind of admired. Then my neighborhood people gave me jobs and helped me out. My friends, we didn't have a lot of money, but everybody had each other. And I think that was a difference in the 80s and early 90s. We had each other. No one cared about what clothes you had or shoes or anything. We just cared about helping each other and living. So those people I credit to, and I listened. Like a lot of these kids won't listen. Like you don't have to tell me twice that if you do something wrong, you're going to get in trouble. Like I never drank, never smoked, never did drugs, never sold them. I just stayed focused on doing the right things, and the right things happened to me.
Right, yeah. I mean, definitely rewarded for just that kind of lifestyle that you cultivated for yourself. And then for you, how does that kind of childhood and then growing up, you gravitate toward basketball, you start picking it up, you get better, obviously, and then how does that lead you then to Kentucky, playing college basketball?
Well, it was crazy. I grew up a University of Louisville fan in our neighborhood, and I was going to. I didn't think about college until they started offering me scholarships. Like I just wanted to get a job. My plan was to get a job and take care of my family. And when I came my senior year, they offered me a scholarship at University of Louisville, but he didn't tell me if he was going to redshirt me and some other guys, so he didn't respond quick enough. And I went to Ohio State first. Then I tore my ACL up, and they were going on probation, so I said I'm going to sit out. And I went to the University of Kentucky after 2 years at Ohio State. And it just so happened I got healthy, won a national championship, went on to the NBA. So it worked out. Adversity hits me a lot, but I think because of when I was a kid, I've learned to deal with it and face it head on. Like it's just a part of who I am.
Right, yeah. I mean, that definitely, shaped kind of the person you've become, and then just having all that success now just in your career. I mean, as you look back, I'm sure that's definitely really rewarding. And then as it is, obviously, March Madness, we're in March. As a player who played through it and then got to the pinnacle of the sport, wins the national championship, just what is the mindset of just these players right now as they're trying to make their tournament runs?
Well, I think the good teams, you'll see that they play hard all the time. I don't think you'll see one of those games where they're up and down. Like some of these teams who've lost and they're struggling, they're playing too up and down. Where when we played, we just played hard. Like if you watch a team and you see them, if they're playing the number 16 seed and then they're playing the number 3 seed, you'll see how hard they play. That's a team that's destined to win. And that's the way we play. We just played extremely hard because you're going to be nervous. It's a natural feeling. It's the biggest stage in college basketball. So everyone, you can't say you're not nervous. You've never seen that before. It was my first time, and it was a lot of the guys' first time, but we just said, play hard, play together, and it'll take care of itself. So we had to focus on stop being nervous and just play the way we've been playing all year, and that's how we was able to dominate teams.
Right, yeah, and I mean, obviously that led to a national championship victory, so definitely a good mindset to have in your guys' locker room. And then for you, I mean, because playing college basketball back in when you played, I mean, it's different from today's game. So how much would you say the game has changed just from the time you played to the current game of basketball?
Well, it's totally changed. It's changed in a direction that I might not like because I played in a different era.
Right.
But I don't disown it, or anything like that. I just think it's just different. A lot of referees are really good, but then there's some of them who don't know the game. Some of the players don't value the game. They don't value this. So there's little things you can see, but it's still the college basketball and the passion I see. I love it. Like, that's the best time of the year right now, to see the passion from these young guys who really love the game of basketball. They're not worrying about the NBA, not worrying about being seen. They're just giving you everything they got, and it's great to watch that.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's why so many people love, college basketball even more so than the NBA at times, just because it seems the passion these kids play with. Exactly. And then after that national championship season in college, you really raise your draft stock to become a lottery pick for the Cavaliers. So what was just that draft process like for you, coming just from the adversity that you came from in your past?
Well, another adversity hit me. I tore my other ACL up my senior year, averaging 20 points, and I tore it in the middle of the season. So I was hit with another phase of adversity. And I stayed positive through that. I worked out every morning at 6 in the morning before everybody got up, did my rehab, went to study hall, and did that every day until I got healthy again enough to play. And it wasn't stressful because I said I had been through the worst. To me, I was like, I didn't seen it all. Nothing else could bother me at that point. And it became another blanket. And I was like, I just do what I do. I have a good smile on my face, good character, and go have fun. I had fun. They saw that I was healthy and I played hard. They were like, well, hey, we're going to take a chance on you. I don't know if I would have did it with 2 ACLs, but they did it. And I think, again, that's because of your character, how hard you play, how people perceive you. And I think that was a great thing that I stayed focused to.
Right, and I mean, like you say, 2 ACL injuries. For a lot of players, I feel like that would be a big kind of hindrance and maybe lead their career to not be as long as they would have liked. But I mean, you get drafted in 1997, you win a championship in 2006, and we'll get to that a little later. But how are you just able to kind of be healthy, stay healthy, in order to have a pretty a career with some longevity?
Well, it's called learning who you are as a person. Learning yourself, learning your body. Like, I never drank, I never had Coke or Pepsi in my life. So what I decided to do was like, well, how can I stay healthy? So I started stretching. I started eating. My diets were always good, and just stayed in rehab. And then I didn't lift a lot of weights. I did a lot of rehab the rest of my career. That's how my knees stayed healthy. And I was like, well, if I'm rehabbing, getting back, why don't I just do this all the time? I stayed in the swimming pool, kept the swelling down, and it just worked for me. I just watched my body, watched my intake. I always rested. So I was always doing the things that was necessary that I've learned from, like, Michael Jordan when I was around him, just watching how certain guys handle their body. And I did that, and I lasted 11 years, and it was a great, great, great time of doing that because I got to know myself now, and I'm still in good shape because of the way I practice good habits. So
right, yeah,
it's tough. It's tough discipline if you're not used to it.
Right, yeah,
you
I was gonna say
the routine.
Right, yeah, because for a lot of these kids, I'm sure coming up, just that transition from maybe a college athlete then to the pros where, hey, you're getting paid, this is your job to play basketball, just kind of what is that transition like? And then in terms of just staying disciplined enough to have a long enough career in the league.
Well, the same thing is my adversity made me do things. A lot of these kids never had adversity, so they don't know what to do. They're just used to doing what they're doing, getting away with it. Like, if you ate 2 double cheeseburgers in a game in high school and you go have 40 points, you think you can do it when you're in the NBA. No, you can't. And I don't think that some of those kids haven't faced adversity. They don't know what actually things to do, and some people haven't actually taught them or helped them get through it. Whatever it may be, you got to create a routine. And sometimes people never know what that is because they've never hit adversity.
Right.
And I think that's a huge, huge thing. This generation now, they've been told a pedestal since they're in like 8th, 7th, 8th grade. Oh, you're ranked in the city. Oh, you're ranked. And now when they finally got to face adversity where there's 100 guys just like them, they either quit, they transfer, they complain, they don't work as hard. Like, they've not been faced with a lot of adversity at a young age, so it's kind of difficult for them.
Right, yeah, and I mean, that adversity, that you faced, like we said earlier, kind of shaped just the person you are, the character that you have, and that's kind of why, I guess, you were able to play so long and have that discipline and everything like that. And then, like I said, 2006, you're playing on the Heat, and you guys make the championship run in the playoffs, win the whole thing. What was just that kind of experience like, going through the playoffs and then making it to the championship and then winning?
Oh, it was amazing. I've always told people though, my best championship was my college, but the greatest run was my pros. Like the pro run was just crazy how everything happened. Down 0-2, go on the road, win. Like it was like a movie to me. It was just phenomenal to be a part of it, playing with Shaquille O'Neal, Dwayne Wade. Like it was just a great Gary Payton, Lonzo Moore. Like we had a great team, and just to playing with those guys and knowing they looked for me, like they was like throw the ball to him. I got to hit game-winning shots sometimes. So it was just a thrill to be a part of that, be a part of something that that you can say it lasts forever. It was great. So I just remember that. I love college, but that run we had in the pros was just an amazing feeling. You can't even explain it.
Right, yeah, two pretty remarkable runs, to say the least, to have both NCAA championship and NBA championship under kind of your belt now. And now that you then retire, 11 pro seasons, what did you kind of gravitate to next to kind of keep your mind maybe not so much on basketball anymore, but the transitionary process?
Well, I focused on my foundation and trying to get people's health right. I want to stay healthy and help other people, and my foundation is acts of kindness through the program U, and the Stamina Foundation has created those. And I just wanted to try to help ease people's lives. Like I've been through stresses as a young person, and seeing how the world and social media is just creating so much havoc and chaos and anger and hatred. I just try to change some of it. I just wish people could just be nice for every day. Like if it was against the law to be mean, we'd be great. I just try to change some people's mindsets and help these young kids get a better life so they can at least enjoy it. You can't change the world, but you can change people in the world, and I think that's my focus.
Definitely really inspirational for sure, especially just with all the adversity you face now, giving back to the various communities. Definitely very commendable. And well, Derek, thank you so much for your time. We're running out of time here. So where can our listeners go to get more information or just to connect with you?
You can go to Stamina FD, as in foundation, staminafd.com, and we have all kind of stuff on there. If someone does something, acts of kindness in the neighborhood, send a video. We send you out shirts, bags, gift cards. We do all kind of things. Just show our appreciation. The more you're kind to people, the better people will respond to you. So I always tell everybody everything is A-okay, and that's the main focus of what we focus on. So definitely excited to have it going and looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely love that outlook for sure. Well, Derek, thank you so much again. All right, everyone, the Sports Watchdog Radio Show on NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060 Phoenix. We'll be right back.
Hey, travel lovers, if you want to up your luggage game, check out EagleCreek.com, an innovative and durable line that's sustainably made with PVC-free materials. One stellar option is the Orf Trunk 36, a big bag crafted for big adventure. It's hard to find upright luggage that puts as much into durable and useful features as this one does. Built with all explorers in mind, the Orf Trunk 36 is lightweight, dependable, and efficient. With wet and dry compartments, multi-point handles, a cargo net for internal compression or outside gear attachment, puncture-resistant lockable zippers, central lock point security, oversized treaded wheels, padded laptop sleeves, and more, this luggage seemingly has it all. It even has a key fob quarter key bottle opener. Plus, there's free shipping on all orders and a no-matter-what lifetime warranty. Shop now at EagleCreek.com. That's EagleCreek.com.
Hey everybody, welcome back. You're listening to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show on NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060 Phoenix. I'm your host, Mason Kern, and joining us now is, guys, I'm probably going to mess this name up, just preface it in advance, but it's Camille Leblanc-Bazinet. Is that kind of right, Camille, or... Good effort?
Yeah, it's fine.
Good effort, yeah. So anyway, the professional CrossFit athlete who is the 2014 CrossFit Games winner and proclaimed the fittest woman on earth. And Camille has one of the most prestigious careers in the sport of CrossFit, having qualified 8 times in a row for the CrossFit Games Championship. She's currently also in pursuit of qualifying for the 2020 Summer Olympics in Tokyo as well. So with that, Camille is joining us today. Welcome to the Sports Watchdog Radio Show. Thank you so much for taking the time. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I qualified 9 times in a row, so I'm just gonna...
Wow, there we go. Okay, so my stat was off. It's 9 times in a row. There you go, guys. So, Camille, just how you doing today? Thanks for taking the time.
I'm good, thanks. Don't believe the internet. Most of the stats about me are wrong there.
Yeah, there you go. We're hearing it from word of mouth. So that's right. 9-time qualifier in a row. So first, before we just get into just your rampant success in this industry, how do you get started in CrossFit in the first place? What kind of gravitated you toward the sport?
Really, to be honest, not much. I grew up doing gymnastics, and I've just always loved to play. So in high school and college, I was part of every team sport you can think of. And someone one day was like, "Hey, come try this thing called CrossFit." And I tried it, loved the community, and that was it for me.
Yeah, I mean, that seems really cool that you were so well versed in really a variety of different things kind of leading you to CrossFit then. And I know, I mean, I've talked to people who are in this sport all the time. They tell me that the training is so grueling. So what is just a normal training day like for you?
Yeah, it's really a lot, and to be honest, I'm surprised my body is holding on this far. But I think it's to be able to handle the volume and everything, it comes down to putting a lot of effort in the basic, which I do every day. So every day I'll train from like 9 to 12, and then I'll do like mobility and food prep and, things to keep myself healthy. And then I'll train again from like 3 to 5-ish. And then my night looks something like more recovery, more mobility, and food prep, and all my business stuff on the side. And then, just repeat that kind of every day. And as long as you put as much focus on your recovery and as you do on your training, and as much focus on doing every movement on purpose with purpose to make sure you're moving well, you should be good to go.
Right, yeah, and I mean that focus, having to kind of, one, keep up the motivation to just keep doing it at such a high level every day, and then two, just maintaining that focus. I mean, definitely commendable for sure. And then for you, like you say, 9-time qualifier in the row for kind of the biggest stage of your sport. But take me back to that first time for you qualifying. What was that like, just that moment?
Yeah, so the first year I did, I qualified for the game my first year. I started to train for CrossFit, and I was full-time student in chemical engineering at my school.
Wow.
And the school I went to, they didn't have any CrossFit gym. So that whole year I would like make up my own workout and just try to figure things out by myself, and just, watch a video of good Olympic lifting people to learn how to do those movements.
Right.
And same thing with gymnastics. So the first year I qualified was, from all the year I qualified, the one that meant the most for me, just because, in my school I had like no computer, no TV, because I didn't have money to have one, and I would just spend, the whole day going to school and training with no distraction, and it was just this intense focus on this goal. And so when I qualified, I was really tired, but I just
Right.
couldn't stop crying because I was so proud of, being able to do something that is so hard, but also I had no access to anything. So it wasn't like, all the star aligned for you. I had everything going against me. So yeah, that was like one of the proudest moment of my life. And from there, I just learned to believe in myself, and then I just kept pushing harder and harder.
Right, yeah, and obviously, I mean, so much success since that time, having, now qualified 9 times in a row. I mean, it's a truly impressive feat, and I know you're currently, like I mentioned before, on the path to qualifying for the Olympics in Tokyo, so how's that whole process going?
It's different and it's humbling, but I really like that. I like when things are hard. I think often people assume that because they have success in one thing, something else is going to come easy. But to be honest, it's almost you always have to start from zero.
Right.
So I think it's quite humbling and exciting at the same time. Like I said, I really enjoy when things are hard. It just makes you grow as a person, makes you change your perspective, always makes you have more respect for, people around you that do things that are different than you. So right now I just started, and I'm just trying to be a sponge and just try to learn as much as I can, and hopefully fail as much as I can right now so I don't fail anymore when it's
Right.
time for the big show.
Right, and I mean, you say you like things that are harder. It's obviously more challenging, pushes you to kind of a different level. But obviously, that requires so much more focus, motivation. You're going to fail multiple times just in order to learn how to be better. And I mean, it's obviously paid off because, like I mentioned earlier, at one point, I think it was 2014, you held the title as Fittest Woman on Earth. So how is it like just holding kind of that like title?
You just go from being completely poor to making a little bit of money.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, that's literally, I think, that's it, There's really not much that changed. I didn't change as a person. For me, the goal was the same after I won. I just still wanted to find out, how fit I could become, which was always my first motivator. And, I think some things that change is just that, all of a sudden a lot of people come to you because they just want to get something out of you. And, some people follow you and support you and you realize you changed some of people's lives. So there's, good and bad about it. You start to be more careful, with who you surround yourself with.
Right.
Because you don't want to, there's a lot of people all of a sudden that want to be your yes man on the side, and you need to surround yourself with good friend that tells you things that are hard to hear to make sure you stay, just the nice person you've always been. So that was kind of that for me. When I won, I knew I was the fittest. A lot of people, after were asking me things like, "Oh my God, how surprised were you?" And when you're the one going through the journey and you see all the sacrifice you've made and how hard you've worked for 5 years, because that was 5 years after my first CrossFit game, you're like, it's no surprise.
Yeah, because you worked for it.
Yeah, exactly. So I always think it's funny to hear how people think that something like that can affect you when at the opposite, when you're the one doing it, you can see how this thing is not going to affect you.
Right.
Because it just almost feels normal because you deserve it.
Right, yeah, and I mean, all the time, hard work and effort you put in, I mean, definitely has paid off, like we mentioned. I mean, so much success to this point, and route to Tokyo now. So that's the next step, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. Well, Camille, thank you so much for your time. We're kind of running out of time here. So where can our listeners go to get more info or just to connect with you?
Go to my Instagram, Camille Leblanc. I'm building my website right now. I'm doing a bunch of online programs, an ebook for people that want to start their fitness journey. Also another ebook. I had shoulder surgery last year, so to help people with their shoulder too. And I'm on Facebook and sometimes on Twitter, but not that often.
Well, there you go, guys. Make sure to check out the website and hit up all the social media channels as well. All right, everyone. The Sports Watchdog Radio Show here on NBC Sports Radio, AM 1060. We'll be right back after this.
If you're tired of hair falling flat, check out the npbeautiful.com flat iron by celebrity hairstylist David Babai, known for Kate Hudson's beachy waves. This sleek modern iron is curved, allowing for endless styling options like waves, flips, curls, and ringlets. Innovative rose gold vibrating plates heat up to 400 degrees, shuffling the hair back and forth to minimize tugging, slipping, or pulling. And 10% of net proceeds support pediatric cancer and animal welfare causes. Find it at npbeautiful.com.
You ready to hoop it up?
This is Happenings on the Hardwood.
All right, guys, in our last segment of Happenings on the Hardwood and our final segment of the show today, picking up where I left off just in terms of the state of the Pac-12, they get 3 teams into the tournament, ASU in the first 4, Oregon and Washington at large bids. Washington loses to North Carolina in the round of 32 after defeating Utah State in the round of 64. A common opponent there, as ASU also defeated Utah State earlier in the season, actually in the tournament that they played in the preseason, actually at the arena in Vegas where they played the Pac-12 tournament. But you look at the state of the Pac-12 as a whole, and 3 teams, 3-bid league. Many people thought it shouldn't even be 1. Because the Pac-12 was historically bad this year, just in terms of, Arizona's talent level was very low. Oregon's best player, Bol got hurt early in the season, and they underperformed relative to their talent level. UCLA and USC have talent, but are also not performing well relative to their talent level. But, for the rest of the league, this tournament has not been much upsets. Duke, North Carolina, all these 1-seed Gonzaga still in it. Virginia as well, all the 1 seeds still in. So going to be really interesting to see how the tournament plays out, if a number 1 seed's going to end up winning, or what other occurrences might happen here toward the end of March Madness. Well, that's a wrap, everyone. Anybody wanting to connect with me, the Sports Watchdog, on Twitter can do so at @SportsWatchdog, and on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube as well at The Sports Watchdog. So until next time, keep your eye on the ball.
The Sports Watchdog.
The Sports Watchdog Ace and Kern.